By the year 2050, the global population will likely be around 9 billion people. The current way we produce food is unsustainable because of its overuse of water, overproduction of land, and heavy use of insecticides, pesticides, and herbicides. There is a need for sustainable agricultural systems. Two of these systems are hydroponics and aquaponics, which are soilless systems. Hydroponics uses added fertilizer or nutrients, whereas aquaponics utilizes the waste from fish. Basically, aquaponics systems are aquariums that produce food.
Aquaponics is a form of sustainable agriculture where crop plants and aquatic animals such as fishes and crayfishes are grown together in a symbiotic manner. Georgia Southern's aquaponics research and education projects are initiatives of the Agroecology Lab, which is supported by the Department of Biology and the College of Science and Mathematics.
Aquaponics has been around for a long time, but there's been a resurgence in interest based on the popularity of growing food locally and sustainability issues. Research can result in efficiencies and increased production. An aquaponics system, if working properly, is about balancing the requirements of plants and animals. Therefore, it's a perfect system to train students in basic ecological principles. It's also a way for them to learn the information in a hands-on setting.
So the Center for Sustainability at Georgia Southern is funded in part by student sustainability fees, and students provide funding for sustainability projects on our campus. So there's a panel of students who makes a decision about who gets the funds, and the goal is to support projects that improve campus sustainability or that provide research so that we have a better understanding of sustainable processes. The Aquaponics project that is being funded by student sustainability fees is a perfect example of sustainability because it represents a closed-loop ecosystem. So we have plants that are growing in this system, but the plants need nutrients, and the nutrients come from aquatic organisms that are eating and providing those nutrients as a result of what they eat. So the nutrients then go back and feed the plants, provide the nutrition for the plants that can then grow.
As previously mentioned, we're looking at two different grow systems, hydroponics and aquaponics. The first of which is hydroponics. While hydroponics is easier to establish than aquaponics, there are pros and cons to the system as well. In a hydroponic system, we're looking at a grow system where we're adding nutrients on a regular basis. The plant's either suspended above the water or water flowing over the roots. In either case, you have a nutrient that is being absorbed by the plant from the water that we're managing with the nutrients. In this kind of system, you have some pros and cons. And so the pros, it's once you have this system established, especially in large industrial scales, it's fairly easy to manage. You have large amounts of water that act as a buffer where you can catch problems before they arise. So if you see nutrients beginning to get out of balance in one of these systems, you can manage it before a larger problem arises. A prime example of hydroponics being utilized on an industrial scale is the 25,000 square foot industrial facility in the Miyagi Prefecture in Japan. This facility was originally an electronics factory, which has now been repurposed for hydroponic production. In this facility, they can actually produce 10,000 heads of lettuce a day, 365 days a year. So this kind of production will be essential in the upcoming years as things like climatic changes, issues with agricultural lands, and degradation of soils become a real issue.
Aquaponics is relatively new technology, especially in the United States. Other places in the world have been doing this for a lot longer period, but here on our campus, we're trying to find out more information about how we can do this in a sustainable system with crayfish as opposed to fish and other crop plants.
Aquaponics may hold the key to sustainable food production in the foreseeable future. Aquaponics utilizes commercially valuable fish feedstock, or crustaceans in this case, whether it's tilapia, salmon, or crayfish. and utilizes their waste as the nutrients needed for plant production. Regardless of the aquatic species used, the basic premise behind aquaponics is the same. In any aquaponic system, plant roots are either suspended in the same water as the fish, or the water is cycled and passed over the roots. In this way, phosphorus and urea present from the fish waste are utilized as fertilizer for the plants. For commercial fisheries, this has the potential to help reduce the need for buffering agents in the water, as the plants will fulfill that role. Because of this, it is possible to continually grow and harvest plants while simultaneously earning a secondary income through the sale of mature fish stock. In either case, hydroponics or aquaponics, the benefit to these systems are clear. They're extremely efficient in producing high yields and utilize a fraction of the land area that conventional farming would otherwise utilize. These systems can also be adapted for development in just about every climate and location around the world.
Our setup consists of hydroponics and aquaponics systems. We chose a randomized block design to determine which system will produce vegetables and herbs more effectively. We chose a randomized block design because it allows us to minimize possible variations within our experiment, as each of our tanks was equally likely to receive an individual treatment. For research purposes, we wanted to ensure all of the plants started on equal footing, so both hydroponics and aquaponics tanks received an initial nutrient dose. We conducted weekly tests to determine the vigor and height of the plants, as well as water tests to ensure the conditions are optimal for the crayfish and the plants. We determined this through the use of a chlorophyll meter, which looks at light reflectance and absorbance within the leaf. At the close of the project, we will examine how much plant biomass was produced. We will do this by collecting the fresh or wet biomass and comparing the treatments.
While the options are endless for what type of fish you could choose to use in your system, we chose to use crayfish in ours. Because of this choice, we were able to get the system up and running for the beginning of the fall 2015 semester. If you decide to do this at home, you could use koi, goldfish, tilapia, or pretty much any other fish. Your choice dependent on whether or not you want to harvest the fish along with your vegetables. Be creative. Just be sure to avoid using animals that produce salmonella in their waste, such as turtles or frogs.
So I want to introduce to you guys how to put together a home aquaponics system. So it's relatively simple. All you need is a couple of components and then also a little bit of knowledge of how to run this system. So we first of all need an aquarium where we can house our fish and also have our plants within this aquarium whenever we have our aquaponics set up completely. So we have our water in our aquarium, we have our fish, whatever it may be running in there. As of now in this demonstration tank we don't have anything, but you would have some type of aquaponics specimen in the water, whether it's fish, crawfish, or anything else. So it's important to know all the components besides just the aquarium that you need. You're also going to need an air stone so that you can aerate the water and also move the water around through circulation. And then we also need a mat so that we can suspend our plants above the water but also allow for the roots to be in full contact with the water at all times. So these are also the plants that we're going to use in this case. We have specialized pots. So in this case they have slots so that the roots can actually grow out of the slots and then hang within the water system. So to kind of show you how it should be put together, we're going to take our air tanks, evenly disperse them throughout the sides of the tank, make sure that we have proper location of them, not all just in one corner, so that we can circulate the water as we also aerate the water. And then we're going to take our mat, which is going to, in this case it's just really high quality styrofoam, and what we're going to do is introduce our plants to it so that they can suspend the plants out of water. So we take our pots and you just cut a size of the hole that's pretty snug fit for your individual plant pots. And as you can see, these are already planted in here. They have been growing in this system for a while, but you don't have to transplant into the system. You can also sprout the seedlings in the system itself. So you want to be very careful anytime you're working with the aquarium and introducing the plants in there to break them if they're already pre-established. So in this case, we have them free floating in the system, and like I said before, we have our vegetation that can grow above the water and not be submerged, but our roots are in constant contact. So they're always hydrated and they always have availability of nutrients. And it's important to mention that the nutrients are coming from the fish themselves, whatever it is that's living in the system itself underneath the water. So it can be all kinds of things, whether it's fish, crawfish. In our research case, we're using crawfish, But these systems act as an ecosystem in the fact that you have something giving nutrients to the plants, and then the plants are also filtering out the nutrients for the water quality of the species that are living within the water.
We hope that this film will inspire you to develop these systems at your home.
If you have any questions, feel free to contact us at our Aquaponics email.
Aquaponics is rewarding, it is efficient, it is sustainable, and above all, it produces good food.
Join us as we start an agricultural revolution that will change the way we grow our crops and protect future generations' food security.